And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's a snack pack, everyone. Go to your kitchen, grab a snack. It's a snack pack. It's Gerald Glasser coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. This weekend, we're going to be doing our Oscar predictions. So go ahead and look for that wherever you get your podcast. Plus also as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Joe Soros with me today. Go ahead and check him out as Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. Plus also as well, he is the man behind Simblades with a Y.com. Also, as well, go ahead and check out what he does on game nights at the very end of the day. End your day with a nightcap at Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro, right there for you on the Lakers Fast Break channels. Also, of course, don't forget our good friends, the Lakerholics crew of Jamie Sweet and Laker Tom. Lakers in 5, who's here. He's saying salute. Absolutely. Salute to you as well. Also, as well, of course, Empire Jeff TV, John McCallion, and John Costa's channels. Of course, they are Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. And of course, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. All those great channels, please support our channel by liking, sharing, commenting, following, and subscribing. Because when you do, you'll get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, coming off in a season of disappointments, it's up there. The terrible performance for 3 quarters we saw last night with the Lakers getting drubbed by the Kings in a crucial game for them where they had the opportunity to rise up in the Western Conference standings, and they absolutely blew it. And, waiting for a help from other teams is really difficult indeed, but we'll see what happens. But it's looking more and more like the Lakers are going to be 10th place in the Western Conference with a really, really hard uphill battle to go ahead to even get into the playoffs. And it's looking more and more like a lost season for the team. So should that mean that those chants you heard at crypto.com arena after the poor performance from the Lakers, of fire ham, that rained down upon owner Jeanie Buss, should they be adhered to sooner rather than later? You know us, we always say sooner. We have fired ham is something we've asked for and called for a long time, but when they do, or if they do, fire Darvin Ham, should Rob Pelinka go along with it? That's the questions we should ask ourselves today with the Lakers in the middle of a disappointing season. Here today to discuss these options and anything else he wants to discuss. Good man indeed, it is. Oh, it's just out there, Alan. It's just a metaphorical. We say it every day on this show. You know our answer here. It is, of course, Joe Soros, Ox 1947. Joe, we've been asking for Darvin Ham to be fired now for quite some time, and yet nobody's listening. That's, the decision makers, i.e. Jeanie Buss. She's continued to go ahead and defend Darvin Ham and Rob Pelinka and the job that they've done. But as this team gives you disappointing loss after disappointing loss, it's getting harder and harder to justify both those two still in the organization.
Well, I would fire Darvin Ham the moment the season's over, and I would also replace Rob Pelinka with Bob Myers. That would be my first course of action. When you bring in a new GM, the GM will pick their coach. Therefore, I feel much more comfortable with someone like Bob Myers picking the next coach than I do Jeanie, Rob, or anybody in that organization. The leadership on this team needs to change. It needs to change for the better. Right now, there is no leadership. Therefore, any leadership would be better than what they have now. LeBron James has 2 choices this summer: to either play out his contract or opt out and leave. That would be what I would do if I'm Bob Myers or if I'm me. And if he plays well next year and the Lakers make a run, whatever, if, then we can talk another year. You flip the script on LeBron. LeBron has been playing on 1-year contracts pretty much for the last 10 years. He seems to always do that, right? Except he did sign a full contract here with the Lakers, but typically he likes to play that game where he controls that fear factor of, hey, if you guys don't have stuff together right, I'm going to leave. The Lakers are not in a position to cater anymore. I think they've catered enough to the players, and the players have let them down in a lot of ways. And of course, Darvin Ham was the wrong person to orchestrate this particular team. Now, we all know that Bob Myers is not coming. We all know that Jeanie is not going to fire Rob Pelinka. But there is a very good chance that they fire Darvin Ham. However, who are they going to bring? That might be more depressing than wasting the last 2 years with Darvin Ham and dealing with the fact that one trade derailed this entire era of basketball that should have at least had multiple championships, at least 2 championships, I should say. There's a lot that needs to get done, and then you got to start figuring out who you're going to get this summer that's going to help LeBron and AD. A lot of work. It's a lot of work, but if you don't fix the leadership on this team, then I don't really have a lot of faith in that at this point.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching and listening. Truly appreciated. Eric says a good point. As far as the coaching carousel is concerned, as of now, there's not a whole lot of great options out there. But then again, if you bring in the right basketball mind, something that they can go ahead and work on, they may be more apt to choose someone that maybe we're not seeing out there that can lead this team to a better way of doing things. And you mentioned bringing in Bob Myers, who was recently honored in Golden State upon his return there, as far as getting, obviously accolades and things of that nature. And I believe also his championship ring, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, absolutely seeing the success there that he achieved, the fact that he is still out there and available to a team like the Los Angeles Lakers that has a proven line of work, as opposed to Rob Pelinka, who had one, I guess, I don't know, depending on how you see it, is it brief or is it longer period of time of success? It's still not long enough for Lakers fans, because we're certainly just feeling it right about now, Joe.
Well, an interesting tidbit with Bob Myers, if you didn't know, Bob Myers went to UCLA. He is a local guy. If they can manage that in their brains, they're not going to be too far off from the fact that he is a local guy. He was executive of the year twice, 2015 and 2017. He was under the controls of this team when they won 4 championships. Granted, he didn't draft Steph Curry, didn't draft Klay Thompson, but he still picked Steve Kerr as the coach. And that's where that, and of course he got certain plugins on this team that helped them win championships and continue to do so. The Lakers need a competent general manager / player evaluator. There is no denying that. You can't really deny it. They haven't had one since Jerry West. I'm not going to compare anyone to Jerry West. That's not fair. But I'd like to think that if you do have somebody out there that's available that has arguably the best era of executive prowess, Bob Myers is that guy. Bob Myers, you could argue, is the best GM / VP / whatever the title is as the controller of the last 15 years. Would you not? Would you disagree?
No, I wouldn't disagree.
Okay.
We've talked about this before, Joe. The fact that he's not already in as an executive in the Hall of Fame is absolutely it's overlooked. You have a criminal proportion. They got around to it. Oh yeah, it's a weak class. We'll just go ahead and throw Jerry West, the executive, in there.
Maybe I'm maybe I'm outside too much and I don't get it. But that stuff doesn't matter. I honestly think I don't even think I would care. But Bob Myers is familiar with the area. He won a championship at UCLA as a player in 1995. He's bright, smart, savvy, has a good reputation around the league. Got out because he no longer was valued at that point. And that's a smart man. That's a smart man. If you're not going to value what I say, then I'm going to go elsewhere. This is the kind of guy the Lakers need. They need this guy to come and start making those decisions, and you let him make those decisions, even if it means telling LeBron, hey, we can't continue to do this. Otherwise, we're going to, not go anywhere. The Lakers have to start thinking about how their next run is going to be.
Or even someone like AD, maybe, just biting the bullet and making the decision that I think we're going to have to move you to bring in.
I'm not gonna say that. You don't move Anthony Davis type player when he's 30. I'm sorry. I know that it sounds easy. Hey, let's just get something.
I didn't say it's not easy. I just said
you're not going to get anything of equal value for Anthony Davis at this point in his career. You're not. So I would rather keep that talent and build around him with 2, maybe 3 studs. Without, obviously, LeBron wouldn't be part of that.
Maybe that's part of the problem why you can't build a team with 3, 4 studs is because of what is being allocated in the salary cap.
Well, how come Minnesota has 3 or 4 studs on their team?
A lot of it was due to drafting. They drafted Towns, who just tore his meniscus. They drafted Edwards.
They're giving Conley a crap load of money. They just re-upped him. They're giving a crap load of money.
Actually, that's under. Conley's under. That's a steal. It's actually under 10 mil for each year.
They're giving Gobert a lot of money.
Gobert, you're right. I'll give you that.
There's money to be had, and the Lakers are the 4th most valuable team on the planet. I don't want to hear about that stuff right now. I really don't. You guys are about championships. You want to win championships. You're gonna need to play outside the lines, and the Lakers have done that as long as it means winning the championship or competing for one. I'm not gonna dog them on that. We already talked about this with Christian Wood this year. They could have easily let him go and got themselves in a better situation money-wise, but they didn't do that, which is a tragedy because look what's happened with him since. Maybe they should have done that. But the Lakers have to change something here. If they go into this summer saying we're going to go get a 3rd guy for a 40-year-old LeBron for next year, then at this point, they're not really taking anything serious. If you can get 2 guys, I'll buy into that. But one more, no. That one guy has to be a megastar. He can't be just some one, let's say a very, very good player. It's got to be a superstar, and then you still have to have depth around it because in getting that guy, you're going to have to give up guys like Austin Reeves, probably Rui, and then hope that D'Angelo doesn't get paid too much outside for free agency because I think he's going to opt out.
I would agree with you on that. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. If you've not yet liked and subscribed, because we're seeing some really new faces here today, go ahead and please give us a like, give us a subscribe. Please let us know that you're very much welcomed here when you do to be a part of what we're doing right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Joe, the question I want to bring to you now is, though, with the Lakers heading into what most likely will be the 10th place in the Western Conference, you might as well just say we're in the middle of NBA Purgatory. It's not a good time. Plus also the fact that, they may in New Orleans not cater to your wishes on when they will pick up the draft choice. A lot of options are not there for the Lakers that normally would be. Where do you go from here if you even keep Rob Pelinka and Darvin Ham, who are so unpopular
you
right
go
now?
nowhere. you will go nowhere if you keep Darvin Ham as a head coach. And Rob Pelinka, he should go back to being an agent. He doesn't belong being a GM of an NBA team. And most don't. Most GMs in the NBA, probably the worst sport when it comes to general managers. It's like hockey coaches, just a carousel of just ineptitude. It's not an easy job, and I get that, but that's the point. The point is, if it's not your cup of tea, you shouldn't be doing the job then. The Lakers are in purgatory, not so much for this season. It's more of just what their next move is going to be. What do they want to do? What do they want to be? I would say is the ultimate question. Do they want to be a team that hopes to play well every game versus a team that knows they're going to play well every game? And I don't believe the Lakers have any leadership at head coach or general manager or owner. And then on top of that, you have players that don't really motivate themselves to be better. I'm talking about the main guys. I'm not going to go pick on Austin Reeves or Rui. Those guys are role players. Those guys do what they do. Their job isn't to lead. I'm talking about LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They are phenomenal talents. LeBron plays very well, but he's not really a leader. And we've had this discussion on shows in the past. LeBron James's leadership, to me, was never really what you think it was. He was never really a leader. He was a leader by example, but I don't believe he ever inspired any of his teammates. I don't think he has that capability. AD, of course, never had that either. They're very passive guys. They're very easygoing guys. And their talents have taken them where they've gone. The problem with that is there's a focus for continuing greatness. And LeBron might be too old for that right now. And AD is showing that he can't do it even in his prime. LeBron might have had it a little bit, but I just never looked at LeBron and said, "My God, this guy's got everybody by the ear, and they're gonna go and run through a wall for this guy." They don't do it. I don't know if that. I think they do it for Steph Curry. I know Klay Thompson would do it for Steph Curry. I know Draymond Green would do it. So you can't blame it on the era. It's just what it is.
Empire Jeff TV saying what we've been saying now on the show for quite some time, that LeBron, at his age, is just not able to do what you need him to do anymore. And AD has never been able to step up into that lead position. And it's just, as you saw in the games that we needed him in Sacramento and Denver recently, Joe, it's not enough. So
no, actually, Empire, that he was not a good leader in the bubble. Matter of fact, he almost sabotaged that run because of what happened outside the court. And reports said that Udonis Haslem, his ex-teammate, had to shut him up in the meeting because he wouldn't shut up.
That's when Milwaukee did their
right, exactly. Because he wouldn't shut the hell up, and then they had to bring in Michael Jordan and put him on the screen. And Michael Jordan was quoted as saying, "You guys need to stop yapping and start listening." And everybody calmed down. It was almost like some of the guys called Obama during that time, and they said, "Help us." Okay, a real leader doesn't go and call somebody else to get an answer. A real leader makes again, I'm not trying to dog on LeBron. He's not a leader. It's okay. It's okay. He's not a real leader. His talent took him where he's taken to the greatness that he is. That's fine. It's enough. There's plenty of great players that weren't leaders. Troy Polamalu, as great as he was, wasn't really like a leader. Ben Roethlisberger, as great as he was, wasn't really a leader. Hines Ward was a leader. Jerome Bettis was a leader. Some guys are just not leaders like that. They're just kind of leaders by example, and they do their job well enough to where sometimes they can take people with them.
Rajon
No
Rondo.
podcast, he's not. I'm sorry. If he was, you would see more evidence of it the last couple of years. But he's a phenomenal player, and he does well on the court. But that's it.
JSJ says Rondo was one of the leaders in the
I'd say Rondo had more of a kind of drag it out, let's go kind of thing without being loud, of course. But he seemed to be that guy. That's what he's good at.
I think with the
leader doesn't regress. See, that's the Jeff. You just said something that's an oxymoron in a lot of ways. You can't be a leader and then regress from being a leader. Either you are or you're not.
I think podcast and empire. I think what it comes down to is, people are talking about LeBron's value as a leader or not being a leader from the way he acts, the things he says, the passive aggressiveness. I think that's what gives that very divisive opinion on whether or not you think he's a leader or you don't think he's a leader, Joe. I think when it comes right down to it, his actions, like for instance, yesterday, people are second guessing and whatever they're assuming. The fact he left the game, he said it was because of his ankle, what have you, with about 3.5 minutes left, just the way he left off at the time he did. Again, optics, aesthetics.
I don't give a crap about that. Okay.
But I'm just telling you exactly
that's
how
the
it's
problem.
being perceived.
He scratches his ass with his left hand, all of a sudden there's this innuendo. Those reports with LeBron, I'm with LeBron on that. Some of the most petty, just nonsense, stupid, hairy high school crap that they pull out of their rear end with LeBron. That stuff, I'm 100% with LeBron. They just do that just to say negative things because they're stupid. And I'm talking about basketball, and I'm talking about the results that you're seeing right now. Everything I say about these players is based off the results, not because I feel a certain way, not because I don't like something or like something. It has nothing to do with me. There's a clear hole on this team with leadership. It's clear because if you watch them play, we're talking about guys that are not old guys. We're talking about guys in their prime, except LeBron. And LeBron plays like a guy. If a 28-year-old whoever was getting the numbers LeBron was getting, he would be in his prime. They would say he is in his prime. A guy getting 25, 6 and 6 is a guy that's in his prime, and he's probably an all-star. So we're not going to say LeBron is in his prime because that's not true. He's out of his prime, but he's still a very productive player, and he's actually been pretty injury-free this year. But everyone else, when you look at them on the court, we've watched how many games this year? How many? Almost 65 games. What do we see on the court? A lot. Guys out of position. Guys not having any fundamental work in certain positions, certain instances, certain scenarios. Going under screens that they should go over. Going over when they should go under.
Now, Lofton's saying this dude, meaning you, doesn't know what he's talking about. So, okay, you're allowed to say your opinion in the chat, and Joe isn't. Again, that's the kind of divisive opinion people have as LeBron.
It's irrelevant whether you think I don't know what I'm talking about or not, because by saying that, you already pulled yourself out of the discussion. To say I don't know anything about this when I've watched every minute of the games for the last 3-4 years is a stupid comment. I know what the hell I'm watching. Okay? You've seen the results the last 3 years. I'm in the results business. We're in the results business. Lakers are in the results business. So what the hell are you going to tell me that I don't know? What are you going to tell me? What? Oh, LeBron is a leader. Okay. Tell me how he's a leader. Oh, he took them to the NBA Finals. When? 5 years ago? Did you guys forget that 2020 was 5 years ago? 5 seasons ago? Sorry, 5 seasons ago. So what does that do for us in 2024? While someone is making $51 million a year, what does that do? Tell me how I don't know what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
He's disappeared on the chat.
No, give him a minute. Maybe he's scratching his nuts or something.
Okay. They usually disappear in the chat.
Okay. So that's the beauty of when you talk stupid like that, you don't know anything. Okay, why? And then you're gone. Tell me why. He led his way to 6 finals losses, Joe. Yes, I understand that. But you have to look at those losses and wins for what they were. Okay? I'm going to go over this so that those who are watching for the first time, I'm going to show you.
It's an organizational fault.
I'm going to show you something here. You guys are going to like this. You're going to like this. Let's talk about LeBron's finals appearances. 2007, his first finals appearance. My opinion, this is an opinion thing, but it could be some facts to it. The worst finals team in the history of the NBA as long as I've been watching it. The 2007 Cleveland Cavaliers. It's not his fault. He won a series by himself against Detroit that he had no business winning. He won it. Problem is, you ran into one of the best Spurs teams that they had in those 5 championships they had. Right? That's just what it was. I'm not going to put a fault to him on that loss. 2011, he goes to Miami, makes it to the finals. They're up 2-1. He should have won that finals. That's the worst finals loss he's had. He should have won that one. Totally blew it. Totally just choked it out. Comes back in 12. Comes back in 13. Wins back-to-back titles. 14. Still LeBron in his prime, not just prime. He comes up lame. Why? Well, there was excuses, right? Well, Dwayne Wade was this, and Shane Battier was that, or Chris Bosh was that. Hey, look, if you're the greatest of all time, you should have won 4 in a row there, folks. Sorry. Now, let's fast forward. 2015, he goes back to Cleveland. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love. Come up lame. Golden State beats them in 6. LeBron led him to a 2-1 lead and then finally crapped out because he had no help. That one, I get. Just like in 07. 16, he wins. Then Durant goes to Golden State. He loses in 17 and 18. I don't fault him for that because I use the comparison that essentially what happened in that situation, it was like Utah got Reggie Miller in 97 and 98. That would have been the equivalent. If that had happened in 97 and 98 where Utah got Reggie Miller with Karl Malone and John Stockton, it's almost 100% that the Bulls don't win in 97 and 98. Would you disagree with that? That would be the equivalent? Just to kind of give it a different look?
I'm just going to say LeBron.
So you tell me I don't know anything. Buddy, you couldn't carry my jock when it comes to information and analyzation. You don't know shit compared to me. And if you think you do, get your ass on the show and I'll show you. You don't sit there and tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. What the hell do you think I'm doing the last goddamn 4 months, wasting 5 fucking hours every goddamn day watching these games? What the hell do you think I'm doing all day, wasting my time with this team for 5.5 hours doing this?
You
Who the
got
hell are you kidding?
Yeah, he never responded back again.
Okay? And if it was a simple troll, that's fine. You can troll all you want. But that sets a bad habit. This is like an intervention for you, buddy, if you're still listening. You don't just say stuff like that and have any credibility. Oh, you don't know anything because I don't agree with you. No. That's why we're in this rut in this world right now, because of clowns like you. You don't know anything, and then leave. Bring your stuff. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me. We're 4 games over 500.
I just
I
think
love you too,
the
Xbox. Always.
I'm just gonna say the LeBron James will go down in history in the NBA standards, in my opinion, as the most divisive superstar of this or possibly even any era. Am I wrong in saying that? I don't think I am, because he has so many detractors and supporters on every aspect of what he is and has done. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not saying I disagree with Joe on the leadership part. I'm not saying I agree with Joe on the leadership part, because I know in the comments you always guys loop us all into the one blanket, and it's not always the case. LeBron has not always shown great leadership. It's been very apparent. I mean, just by the fact he's doing the hourglass thing, wearing the Knicks colors when you're going into MSG, all the stuff he did before the trade deadline, all the stuff he has done before each trade deadline, it's all the passive aggressive statements, things like that. I would like to see something a little bit more cut and dry sometimes when it comes to his leadership with the team, getting the guys together, just making sure that they know that he has their back. I don't think they always know that. Again, I don't sit there in the huddle each and every time. You're going to have to go and interview all these players from, the entire 20 plus year career that he's had. They'll tell you the best if he's been a leader or not throughout his entire career, or a good one.
Shane, I'm going to answer Shane's stuff because Shane stayed here with his opinion. So
yeah, and I respect that.
Respect that. Shane, just because someone's not a leader doesn't mean they're not valuable. The term leader, there's a different level there. There's a different level. I'm going to use the example.
Lofton. Well, hold on. Let me say this. Somebody kicked you out, Lofton. I apologize. I would not have kicked you out just because you're sharing.
I didn't touch anything. When I'm in the zone
I know you guys love. Hey, out there. I know you guys love Joe, but please don't time out or kick anybody just because they disagree with Joe. If they're not really saying something if they're just saying an opinion like that, that's weak. Come on, guys. You guys are better than that. Really save the timeouts and kicking out people for actual moments when you do need to kick out trolls. Please, let's keep, people are allowed to share differing opinions. If you think Joe is crazy, fine, let them say it. Joe can handle it. Go ahead, Joe. I just want to Lofton's back in. So I apologize, Shane, Lofton.
Yeah, we apologize for that, Lofton. We don't want you to go anywhere.
Shane was cool, but Lofton, I guess, was timed out after his comment.
Shane, I want to make something clear here. We know that LeBron is 39. We know this. We know that he's not the problem. What we're talking about is there's this. These are professionals. They shouldn't have to be motivated. And I understand that too. But there's this individuality around LeBron. We've talked about LeBron and that LeBron is infatuated with LeBron. There's no one that can deny that. And when you're too infatuated with yourself, you tend to get tunnel vision on things. You have, and I know this is a joke because they're buddies, but sometimes with your buddies, even with your buddies, you'll say some things that's true, but you'll just do it in a joking way. So if you're ever, when you analyze people and their speech and their vocabulary and the way they deliver something, the way they deliver their whatever comment. Did you hear what AD said after the 40,000? Did you hear that? Okay. Now they don't have bad blood. They're friends. They rib at each other. It's been known that they do that.
Sometimes it gets a little tense.
But sometimes you could tell there was some feeling behind that. Like, yeah, every time we see a record, we lose. So why would he say that? Just to dig it in? Or is there some truth to that? Because that's not the first time he said something like that. He didn't really stand up when he had what was the scoring thing, right?
Yeah.
When he broke the scoring record, he didn't stand up enough and all that. And because it's a distraction to ultimately what matters. And we've discussed that LeBron can score 50,000 points and have 20,000 rebounds and 20,000 assists. It doesn't matter. This isn't baseball. Baseball is an individual sport. Baseball, individual records matter more than even championships, because that's just how the culture of baseball was. But in basketball, it's the barometer is, if you're going to be the greatest, you have to surpass that guy in Chicago. And it's not fair. It's always going to be a discussion. And the scrutiny is going to be at the littlest thing. But I'm not really looking at that. I don't really care about that. I care that the Lakers win championships. It just so happens that LeBron is on the team, and sure, we like to support him for breaking. It's nice that he broke the NBA scoring record, because it went from one Laker to another. And before then, it was a Laker to another Laker. So the Lakers have been owning the scoring record for how long now? 60 years? 50 years? Yeah, 51 years. Wilt retired in 1973, the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Kareem broke it 11 years later, and then LeBron broke it in 2023. Laker. So that's a good thing. We're spoiled that way. But more than anything, I would say, if I'm going to put any real fault on this setup, I have to go this way, in that the Lakers organization, the Lakers executive management, absolutely butchered this team in two areas. One, they butchered their depth by doing the Russell Westbrook trade, and they absolutely killed themselves even more by getting rid of a championship coach who at least had somewhat of a philosophy in a very important area that you need in the NBA, even though it's not as, I guess, a stronghold anymore, because they don't allow defense to really dictate games as much anymore. But at least it was enough to where they could at least survive some things. The thing last night, it wasn't so much that the Lakers stunk on the offensive end. It was every time they scored, they just would allow the Kings to score. And if they didn't score every time, the Kings were going to score every time. They didn't miss a shot for like 4 minutes in the second quarter. And that's because you have a coach that doesn't have a clue what he's doing at all. He doesn't know how to put his players in the right positions. No one's expecting anyone to guard Fox or Monk or any of these guys individually. So you have to devise a plan. You think we didn't have to deal with elite guards in 2020 when the Lakers were playing stout defense? Well, Joe, they had Caruso, they had Kuzma, they had KCP. Sure. Yeah, you're right. The talent was a little bit better. But it shouldn't be this bad. It shouldn't be this bad. There should be something put together. And then again, they didn't equip this team with those kind of players. Instead, they put all of the onus on LeBron's shoulders and AD's shoulders with no help.
Well, podcast Shane, you just can't point out one particular thing. It's when you got a team that's not good like this overall, it's an organizational issue. And I like the fact, and when your previous comments, you said they are losing because the team is not playing good basketball. There's lots of reasons why they're not playing consistently good basketball, from the coaching to the way the team was structured to the actual players themselves. And again, you said one of the things that you mentioned is AD not having a passion for the game. As far as he looks great when he's playing Washington, 40 point, 15 rebounds. Absolutely fantastic. But when it really is in games that matter, he's not always been there for us as of recent times. Yeah, he was terrific in the bubble. Absolutely fantastic in the bubble. But the problem is that AD has not consistently been there when it matters the most, Joe. And I think that's a good point by podcasting.
we need to scrap. This needs to get scrapped. I think we've repeated ourselves enough. We've repeated this over and over again. This team is fractured. It's a fractured team, and it's leaderless. From head coach to the two leaders, the two pillars. This is what it is, and there isn't a firecracker on this team that can motivate, kind of like a Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher wasn't a great player. He's a very valuable player in the clutch at team chemistry, but there's there's really no one here to kind of kick people in the butts. There's no Udonis Haslem on this team, even though Udonis Haslem was useless the last 5 years. He just was a cheerleader. But the Lakers have to figure out something here in the next month and a half. I am fully comfortable in saying that within the next month and a week, the Lakers are going to be out of the playoffs. And they have to, my not hope, but they have to be looking for another coach right now. They have to be investigating it because Darvin Ham has to go, and this LeBron thing has to be figured out as well. If he wants to play this LeBron game, hey, you're going to do this, you're going to do that because I said so. Well, LeBron, you can go ahead and leave. Sure. You can go ahead and leave if you want. Go ahead and opt out and leave. Let's see if anybody will pay you $51 million. You know damn well no one's going to pay him $51 million in free agency. We all know that. The Lakers have leverage here. So they can say, LeBron, we're going to let you play out the contract if you pick it up. We're going to go after it one more time. We're going to get some help this summer. But we're not giving you a 2-year extension at $120 million. Now, if he wants to opt out and take less money so the Lakers have a better chance at signing everybody, hey, that would be very nice. That would be very nice. And if AD is not our cup of tea and you feel like you can get somebody that could help, I'm open for anything at this point. But I just don't see it. I don't see how you're going to find somebody as good as AD. I just don't. I'm sorry.
But
even
how many years do you think AD has left? Because this is the healthiest AD has been. This is the most games he's played in quite some time. He's trying to shed that street clothes deal. He is, 31 or is he still 30? 30, 31, what have you. But how long do you think you can get this kind of play he has for most of the season? I mean, barring the games where he really needed the most, the games that he has played for the most part at a great level, at a third team all NBA level right now. Where do you see him? How many years do you think he has left at that level?
What was the best lineup in 2020 for the Lakers? Do you remember?
Was what are you talking about, the starting it or the game six?
Let's say to finish. The best lineup was AD, Caruso, KCP, Rondo, and LeBron. What do other than LeBron, and even LeBron played pretty good defense. That was like his last year where he played a little bit of defense, right? But what did those other guys do for AD and LeBron? They made timely shots and they played defense.
Now, so let me just, can I hold on? Can you hold on a second? Because there's a comment. I apologize. G-Con, great to have you here. Sounds like you're someone new to the channel. Please like and subscribe. He said, no other NBA team will pay an old LeBron anything close to $50 million per season. Didn't we just come off the rumors that were somewhat substantiated that the Golden State Warriors inquired about LeBron, about trading for him, Joe?
And that's part of the leadership issue that we've had with LeBron. You're sitting there telling me it's not LeBron, and he is a leader. I'm sorry, folks, but leaders don't talk in code on social media about their own team, and they don't put out a lame story like that after the trade deadline. Leaders don't do that.
Well, I just want to correct him to say that somebody was probably interested in paying him that amount of money, Joe.
The Golden State Warriors?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to ask you this question. Why didn't we hear that before the trade deadline? Why did we have to hear it after? Because that's a pussy move, if you'd ask me. If you do something like that when it's already too late, that's a pussy ass move. Those are the evidence. You guys wanted evidence? That's one.
I didn't say I would pay him that. I'm
So
just saying that there's a team out there.
Let's talk about the difference. And again, I have to use this because it's confirmed information. You know what Michael Jordan told Reinsdorf in '97? If he didn't pay him $35 million a year, he was going to go to Cleveland. And he'd have to see him 4 times a year and probably in the playoffs. What did Reinsdorf do? Okay. And that wasn't after the trade deadline. That wasn't in some cryptic social media, Instagram, Snapchat bull crap. He straight up told him to his face. What did Kobe do when he got tired of losing? I'd rather go play in Mars, Pluto, wherever the hell he wanted to go play, right in front of everybody. What do you want me to say? You want me to ignore these things? Do you want me to ignore these things and tell me, you know what, Joe? Maybe he was having a bad day. No, because this has gone on for a very long time. It's gone on for a very long time, and it's time. It's time to start thinking about what is in the best interest of the Lakers here from here on out. The Lakers have a problem right now, and that is they're stuck in that we can't win it all, but we're winning enough to get in. In the NBA, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. You either got to be in or you got to be really bad so that you can get back to being good.
All I'll say is, and once again, thanks so much again for joining us. It is the Lakers Fast
Shane,
Break.
that's not what we're not talking about that. We're talking about why did the report come out a day after the deadline was done?
It's actually
what was the purpose of that?
2-3 days later. But
what was the purpose of that? What would that benefit anyone?
Somebody wanted it out
there. Is a stool. Shams is a stool. These guys don't have any power. They get information from these agents, these players, and then they go quack. They don't just come up with this stuff out of nowhere.
Somebody wanted it known that the Golden State Warriors were inquiring at a high level, owner to owner, GM to GM, actually asking LeBron if he wanted to play with, of course, Draymond Green, contacting LeBron if he wanted to play for the Golden State Warriors. So obviously somebody wanted it out there, even if it was after the fact.
Yeah. We know who it was. We know exactly who it was.
Oh, I know. I'm just, but
so
for the official, I have to say.
If you call that leadership, then your definition of leadership is different than mine. And by the way, we're 4 games over 500 with a month left. You're not going to win that argument. Sorry.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe. You get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air. Like tomorrow, we're going to be doing the pregame. We're going to be doing during the game with playback.tv. So that's Lakers Fast Break. Hopefully the simulcast as well. The postgame, nobody does the Lakers on the postgame better than we do here at the Lakers Fast Break. And then, of course, the Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro. Intel Wild in the Super Chat. Thanks so much again for all, as always, Intel. Derek Fisher looks like a mini-me version of Ham, according to Intel. So I just thought he'd chime that in there. But Joe, it gets back to the original question or thoughts that I pondered for the title and description of this show. Is it time for Darvin Ham and Rob Pelinka to go? It's been something you and I have been asking, and something you and I have been saying that needs to happen for a long time. I think I was harder at first on Rob Pelinka, because I see it as more of a top-down, poor decision-making from him first, and then you go ahead and take care of the coach as far as firing him or letting him stay. But then again, Darvin Ham, he has not been able to go ahead and consistently find any type of footing as far as his situation here. So as Jeanie is now starting to hear on a continual basis from the fans, even when she's there, about how to go ahead and run this business, when she hears fire ham, is it time to just go ahead and cut your losses?
It can't be just Ham. It's got to be leadership in the front office. The front office is what's created this problem for the last 3 years. They made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. You traded a bona fide starting center for Muscala, Mike Muscala, bona fide big center for a journeyman who stinks. Why? Why would you make that trade, right? That's one. I don't care if Magic was there or not. It's still the same management. Why would you make that trade? Then you trade your depth for Russell Westbrook because you were worried about what was going on in Brooklyn. Why the hell did you make that trade? Who told you to make that trade? Who said you needed to make that trade? No one knows. No one knows because they don't really know what they're doing. And then now, this is the residual of all that.
Bloodhound, no, they did get off finally the Luol Deng salary. I will. Yeah.
There's always one salary in every era that is terrible.
Bobby Bonilla.
before it was Luke Walton. Before that, it was, who was it? Luke Walton was the other one. The other one was, shoot, I can't remember. God, which one was it? Anyways, there's too many mistakes. There's just too many mistakes. You traded away a second-round pick. You wasted your evaluations. You went through all this process to evaluate players that were picked in spots they should not have been. Zubac should have been a first-round pick. You got him in the second, and you pissed that away. You got Caruso, who was a free agent and was getting better and was integral to the 2020 title team. You let him go. He became a first-team all defensive player in Chicago. You wasted that scouting. You got how many guys like Jordan Clarkson and those guys? And it's like you can just keep piling on. Kuzma. You got Kuzma late in the first. You had Josh Hart late in the first. They didn't make good decisions in so many areas over and over again. I know some of those guys were not all in here. I know it's a progression, but it's just not. The evidence is all there that where they kind of fell apart.
But it is the Lakers fast break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks so much for watching this thing. Going to stay on a little longer, Joe. Our ratings are climbing as we're getting more into this. I guess maybe because you got a little feisty earlier on when somebody called you out. Please, if you're in the chat, don't automatically cut somebody off or time them out if they just have a little bit of a differing opinion. As long as it doesn't go overboard, please. If they don't agree with Joe, they don't agree with Joe. And Joe, again, you're used to it, my friend. You've heard it all over the 2 years you've been here. So it's not that bad when somebody says they just don't agree with you on LeBron being a leader or not. It is going to be one of the most divisive things that people.
It is divisive because you have too many people that kiss his ass. You don't kiss anyone's ass. It doesn't matter if it's LeBron, AD. When you screw up, you need to be called out. This goes for your family, your friends, your coworkers. You screw up, you're supposed to be told what happened. And you guys have seen me here say plenty of times, man, LeBron, wow, he is amazing. He did great. And then 2 days later, he does something that's not good, and we say it. We're not going to sit on one side for everything. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. And if you want to pull out the age card and say this is why, then you guys haven't been watching LeBron James's career. This is not different from 10 years ago. He's been the same guy. doing the same tactics. Why is it different now that he's 39? Stop making excuses for people when they screw up. Stop. That's what enables them. You keep enabling these people, they're going to continue to do this. Now, if they're going to go after him for stupid stuff, see, that's the difference here is no one knows the difference because they all pile it in. Right away, you go to a site, you see some comments about a certain player, and then somebody dogs on LeBron James for no reason. Those guys are jackasses, okay? Screw them. I'm talking about people that are actually watching the game and critiquing what's going on. It's about what's going on here, not some fantasy thing where LeBron is this or LeBron is that. I don't care what LeBron does outside the goddamn court. I don't care. The only time I've got angry about it is when it affects the freaking game. There's a difference. Learn the difference.
So before we head on out, Milwaukee Bucks come into the crypt tomorrow. And with the way this season going, Joe, you don't know which Lakers team you're going to get. Are you going to get the team that did the El Foldo act on Wednesday after the first quarter when they were up by 19 points and absolutely imploded after that? Or are you going to get the team that gave you a great team performance in OKC? It's truly hard to tell. You actually said, watch on Friday. Watch the Lakers beat Milwaukee just because that's how unpredictable this team truly is.
Yeah. Game by game at this point.
Yeah.
Milwaukee has their issues. Sometimes they lapse. They've been playing well lately, though. And we're going to get a chance to see if AD is going to be able to play against a big that has some skills because he's having a lot of problems playing with bigs that have skills. It's been a problem for a few years now. And I don't know why. I don't know why someone that moves like a statue like Sabonis owns him. I don't get it. He has way too much athleticism to be owned by Jokic or Sabonis. If you want to say Embiid's a giant with, I don't know. I guess Embiid is very similar to Jokic in a lot of ways.
And I'll just say this, Joe. I mean, that's it's the way we headed off this conversation was right at the very top with Rob and Darvin as being some of the main culprits in this situation. But you see in the comments, you see it every single time we go on the air. Man, it sucks that we don't have, for instance, you point out, as I often do, about Zubats not being here. Also, as well, KCP, Caruso, you pointed them out as well. Kyle Kuzma, you pointed out that. I mean, just there's a number of players. Malik Monk. Now, Malik Monk, we probably couldn't afford because of we did not have his bird rights, so we were not allowed to go ahead. We were only able to go ahead and sign him for X amount. So we were probably going to lose him anyways. But those other guys we didn't have to lose. We decided to make mistakes and keep guys like Taylor Horton Tucker. We decided to keep guys and draft like JHS instead of Cam Whitmore, who scored, 17, 19 last night in an NBA game and not 17 and 19 in a G League game, in an actual NBA game. So you see those mistakes that are constantly being made. So again, it is an organizational issue, Joe, but I think it starts from the very top, and it starts the way that Rob Pelinka has continually deconstructed this roster over the past few years since the bubble. So again, I really think that you need to make a clean sweep come the end of the season when we don't get the results we're looking for.
You have some talent out there in the executive area that you can go get, and a very good one. How many two-time executives of the year that are still young are going to be out there? How often? They're not out there. So you have one out there and someone who's familiar with that with LA. This guy was an integral part of the community. He brought the last title. He was one of the players. I didn't say he brought it, but it's one of the cogs of the last UCLA national championship team. So he is, you could say, a good footprint in the area. Someone who's familiar with the area, someone who's familiar with the pressure of that kind of area. You have him right there. Get rid of Rob Pelinka, send him back to wherever the hell he came from, and go get an executive that knows how to put a team together and who to sign. We understand they couldn't sign everybody, but they didn't sign anybody 90% of the time of any relevance. Okay, you lost Malik Monk. Okay, you lost Schroeder. You lost this guy. Could you have gotten at least a couple of them at least? We know you can't sign everybody, but could you have gotten a couple to construct this the right way? You don't have the talent. You don't. Rob Pelinka does not have the talent. He hides like a gopher when things are bad. He comes out when things are good. That's a coward. That's a coward. He's a coward. And Jeanie, the crowd yelling, "Fire Ham!" God knows how she felt when she was leaving. Like, this is what it is. Your bad decisions have created this. I don't ever remember, other than Shaq, anyone yelling at Dr. Buss. And I was pretty irritated when Shaq did that to Dr. Buss at a preseason game. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Shaq wanted an extension to his contract and pointing at Dr. Buss during one of the preseason games, said, "Pay me, mother, you know what."
Well, cool, bro. I'll just say this. If you do have some paranormal activity that is legitimate, which I highly doubt, go ahead, record it, put it on YouTube. And if it's legit, there you go. People come running. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Joe, I want to go ahead and ask you this. Actually, a Sports Baby is responding back to Podcast Shane on the possibility that maybe they should look into trading AD. And I know you said don't trade AD, but for maybe a player of the ilk of Kyrie Irving and Derek Lively Jr. package, I'm just adding on to what Podcast Shane was suggesting. So I don't know. You say definitively not to trade AD. I say when you're a 10th place team, you have to look at every available option. Whether or not you do it.
But I would prefer to build around someone who at least can do something that only a handful of people can do in the league. Still,
I get that.
And you give AD some mercenaries around him, you'll see the value. It's not an accident that AD had his best season in 2020. It's because he had people in front of him that helped him. And it sucks, but it's something you have to come to grips with. That's why as a leader, a coach, a leader, whatever, AD is not a demonstrative type, folks. I'm not going to sit here and argue and complain about how he is not something we wish he is. Could be, I should say. He's not. He will never be that player. It's not in him. But he is fantastic. He's a fantastic player. He's a 20, 12, and 3 player. Well, 2.5. So build from that. And he's 30 years old. He probably has 3 or 4 years left. 3 or 4 years is a long time. Put some horses in front of this guy.
Darren, I understand he's from Chicago and would love to get the opportunity to go back home. But even if you did trade half the Bulls for AD, you realize the Bulls are a sub 500 team in where, Joe? Which conference?
The Eastern Conference?
That is correct. Yes. Why would you want half the players from a team that's actually under 500 in the worst conference? That's not, yeah. I don't, again, we may see some activity in regards to that, but I don't think the Lakers, as you said, want to go ahead and trade AD or LeBron because, as you know, they like optics. They like optics to the rest of the league. They like optics to the fans. They like optics to those star players that they hopefully are trying to attract down the road, i.e., Luka or Giannis or whoever that they would even possibly think about doing. So again, optics is a key. So I don't know why would even be going down this road, but I'm sure the rumors will still remain. For now, LeBron has a $50+ million option, or the possibility remains, Joe, as we're hearing in the rumors, that LeBron could be signed for a 3-year really large extension as well, which I'm not sure would be the right move, because you're tying up so much of your salary cap to two players that are now getting you only as the main guys to a 10th place finish at this point in time. Tough call, man. Tough call.
We know where this is going to probably go,
Mm.
and it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
That's funny. I like your name, XRP Moon. I'm a supporter there too, by the way.
LeBron should accept less money, but will he? That's a good question.
I was talking about his name, actually, not the.
I know, but what he's pointing out is good.
Yeah, that's
LeBron
good too.
should.
That's good too.
Yeah. What he should do and what he will do.
Yeah, the star player taking less money, that takes a special player.
Should Kobe have taken less money when he signed that last contract when offered to him?
I'm gonna be naive here and say if he believed that if he took less money that they'd have a chance to win, I believe he would have. But I think what happened in the end there was he knew it was his last. This was not going to work out well for the next couple of years, and took what he could get.
Okay. Is LeBron going to do this?
LeBron is in a different situation. LeBron is supposed to have a team. Kobe didn't have an AD on his team. I'm sure if Kobe had an AD on his team, I think he would have looked at that a little different.
I'm not saying that, Darren. I'm just saying, should Kobe at that point in time, we don't know.
You have to also understand the NBA has to allocate a certain amount of money anyways. I believe it's 90%.
Yeah.
So it would. Okay, so even if Kobe had said, "Hey, we need to pay me less so that we can get more players," who would they have gotten?
I don't remember.
Would KD have gone to come to to LA in 17?
Again, we'd have to take a look at the landscape of who was available at that point in time.
I don't remember anybody other than KD, really.
No.
If it meant getting KD, I think he would have taken less.
Yeah.
But KD wanted to win, and he guaranteed himself winning in Golden State.
But we don't know that. Again, it's just throwing that out there. Let Kobe aside. Let's put this back to LeBron. LeBron, do you think he'll accept less money?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
It would mean there would have to be a prearranged acquisition for him to do that, I would say. Hey, LeBron, if we're going to be able to get, let's say, Trae Young, but we need you to take 45 mil instead of 60 mil.
Who is comparing Kobe to LeBron, Darren? I'm not comparing Kobe on LeBron as far as their skill levels or their careers are concerned. I'm just saying, what if Kobe had decided to take less money during that period of time? It's a difference, Darren. It's a difference. Understand the difference in the concept, but need I digress? Go ahead, my friend.
I believe it or not, I'm not really thinking about LeBron after the season first.
Well, you should if he ties up that much.
Well, I'm thinking about you need the guy calling the shots first. You need to solve that problem.
Oh, absolutely.
I already know Jeanie is going to cower to whatever stupid demand that her stars want, because that's what they do usually. Lakers need a leader that knows how to put together a team. Rob Pelinka doesn't know how to put a team together. That's the first area I'd go. Then when you bring in a new general manager, that general manager is going to want to pick a coach that they want. That's how it works, because that's how the relationship works, right? But we know that's not going to happen. So Rob's going to stay. I would say, depending on how if this season should end the way we think it's going to end, I would be in shock if they don't fire Darvin Ham. I just don't see how that's possible. It's just too much. The only issue there is who do you replace them with? Because they're not good at that either. And the Lakers have never been good at that, ever. They've never hired a coach that they've researched. It's always been someone big or someone that they had to use to replace somebody. So the last time, not in the Buss era anyway, Bill Sharman was hired in 1972, an ex-Boston guy. They hired him to say, can this guy help us win? Can you bring some of that Boston winning feeling here? He did for 1 year, and then they got waxed the following year against the Knicks. That was it. Then it was just Jerry West, and then finally got to Westhead. Then a couple years later, you had Pat Riley because they had no one else to put in there because Westhead was screwing things up. Pat Riley became a great coach. 1990, you get Mike Dunleavy, not a bad coach. He bolts. Then you get Randy Fund for a year with a terrible team. He isn't good enough. He's out. I don't think that the audience wants to listen to a history lesson of the coaches. I think it's pretty clear where we're going with this.
Yeah.
The Lakers need to find the right coach. They need to find the right coach. And it's unfortunate they had the right coach for this team and they got rid of him. I don't understand why. I don't ever remember getting upset. There were times where Fogel might have done some mistakes, but it wasn't due to this complete brainless, it was just bad decisions. And that happens. It happens. But this coach is infuriating with his decision making. It's debilitating.
Joe, Jeremy is asking from Australia, who's the right coach?
The right coach is someone you don't know. They need a fresh coach, someone with today's game in mind. You know how in the NFL you always see that guru offensive coach that comes up, you know, the Sean McVays, Sirianni's no longer good at this point. He was supposed to be that guy as well. You had who was the other one I was thinking about? I was thinking about Ben Johnson from Detroit too, but he's not a head coach. He will be. Smart one too. He didn't take the Washington job because he's smart. There's a lot of. They need to go get somebody that's fresh, that's got the energy to implement a philosophy and lead this team.
Darren says, in all honesty, if LeBron played less minutes and harder on defense and got into the flow of the offense, he would be happy. Well, Joe and I had suggested 28 to 30 minutes. You saw how that went after the first game and went out the window. Second of all, he's 39. I don't know how. I mean, we're not him playing this game at his level at 39 years old. I don't know if he even can play as defense as well as you and I would hope or expect him to do so, and still have enough energy to do what he needs to do in the offensive end, Joe. It's just the way this team was structured. It was structured, I believe, around a much younger LeBron than what you have now. And I think that, again, that's one of the myriad of problems and the myriad of reasons why this team is where they're at.
Yeah, it's LeBron can't play like LeBron used to. That's just not going to work. Too many miles. So you have to have things around those guys to make up for that deficiency, but they don't have that. And they don't have a philosophy to where they can take advantage of certain times in the game, take advantage of certain skill sets that the guys around them have. You don't have that. It doesn't have any of that. You can't implement a setup of an offense where you can get Austin Reeves consistently open shots because he hits those when he's open. Even Rui hits them. Rui, good mid-range game. Get the ball moving to the point where you can get him at the right elbow.
Jante, you should check out. Well, let me again. Here's another comment. Jante, watch all of our shows. You'll go ahead and apologize to us because we complain about Reeves' defense. I have structured many shows and put many shows about how bad Reeves' defense has been and D'Lo's defense has been over the time that they've been here. We're also complaining about LeBron's defense because LeBron doesn't play defense the majority of the time of the game. He picks and chooses his spots, most likely because at 39, he needs to. So, again, regardless or not, he doesn't play defense quite a bit during the games. On D'Lo and Austin, we have been very hard on the defense as well. So, Jante, please watch all of our shows before making a statement like that.
Also, understand that LeBron has had a bad habit of leaving his players in the lurch because he doesn't get a call over and over and over again. This isn't us making this up. Go watch if you haven't. He doesn't get a call. Next thing you know, you think the coaches don't know this? You think the coaches don't watch film? I mean, I think Darvin Ham's the only guy that doesn't do it.
Austin Reeves wasn't drafted because his defense.
You don't leave your teammates complaining to the refs go 4-on-5 over and over and over again. Why does he do that? Well, how is that acceptable? How is the team going to learn how to be like this when their leader gives up on plays because he's frustrated with a call? I mean, I'm going to get frustrated because I didn't get a call. I'm going to let the guys handle the whatever.
Well, let's say we get Luka Doncic in 2-3 years down the line. Get prepared for another guy who gets upset at many calls or lack thereof on that end.
Does he leave the team 4-on-5 on the other end?
I'll let Frank answer that question, and I'll leave it at that. Frank is probably the best one. If you're still in the chat, Frank, you're, as a Dallas Mavericks fan, you're probably the best to and most appropriate to say that question. What does it do when you see him constantly arguing those calls? What does it do to your team? So I would let him, or Frank is still on the air, or next time he's on, I'll go ahead and ask him that question because I think he is it's more appropriate. Or if Rel from We Talk Mavs, these guys are the Mavs guys that see him on a daily basis. I've seen plenty of times where that's happened, where he'll end up, well, Frank, so what is your thoughts when Luka Doncic argues with the calls? Is it a distraction for the team? Does it create a 4-on-5 situation? Let us know, Frank. We'd love to hear from you because it does at times for the Lakers. I can see, Joe and I've seen that on more than one occasion. Correct, Joe?
Correct. Although I have noticed, at least in the games I've watched, that he's not.
Frank says yes. Frank
he hasn't
says
been doing it as much this year than he did last year.
He's a little bit, but it's still got quite a few.
Austin Reeves should be a 6-man on a championship team. We said that years ago.
Both D'Lo and Austin should be 6.
D'Lo,
I don't think these should. D'Lo, again, to me, it would be an excellent 6-man.
I think D'Lo at the 1 with a defensive-minded team. You put D'Lo.
You'd have to have some real good defenders.
You put D'Lo on that 2020 team, and that team is a freaking even better.
Okay, I'll give you that. But you'd have to have, again, some really key defenders that make up for his inefficiency on defense.
Correct. Then you gotta look at your main pillar, which is the main defensive pillar, AD. You gotta work with that. You gotta create that team around that guy's skill set.
Hernan, watch out, Hernan. Calm down. They're saying you look jacked, and Hernan says you look jacked and you need to pay him a visit like your mafia or something. I'm here to collect.
Hey, I'm on day 21 in a
Calm
row.
down. Calm
I've been
down.
working out like crazy.
Just because we don't like Ham's coaching
most
doesn't
of it,
mean we don't like
most
Ham's
of it has
coaching.
been to lean out. I've been trying to avoid the lifting for right now because I have enough muscle. I just got to get rid of the fat. But thank you, I appreciate that. The thing with Darvin Ham is he's 6'7".
Yes.
Uh,
He goes
I might
about
weigh more than him, but that's a
not
big
by
boy.
much. Yeah.
And he has a big head.
Yes.
I have a I would say a formidable head to the size I have, but Darvin Ham, he has one of those Bruce Bochy heads. It's just a freaking it's like Sputnik.
It is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be back on the air with the post game, obviously, as well. Before that, pre-game, during the game with playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, and then Joe Soro with your nightcap. So, Joe, before we head on out, we've got this murderer's row continues with Milwaukee tomorrow. And again, you said you wouldn't be surprised if this inconsistent Lakers team finds a way to win tomorrow night against Milwaukee, even though Milwaukee just got drubbed by Golden State in their first loss since the All-Star break. So,
well, an interesting scenario has developed today. It looks like Karl Anthony Towns is gone for the rest of the year.
He got surgery, but they're going to evaluate him within a month. So
this is probably more depressing as things like this go on.
We play them Sunday.
It's even more than that. Now you're almost guaranteeing Denver to finish in the one spot. And where are the Lakers right now? Where are the Lakers going to end up? Likely, they're likely going to end up at the 10th spot, which means should they muster up enough energy to win 2 of those play-in games, they will solidify the 8th seed. And if Denver's the 1, you are going to be playing the worst team at the worst time.
I think that I'll say this. I think that they're so close, Joe. Mavericks are 28 losses. The Golden State Warriors are 29 losses. Technically, they're tied as far as their overall record is concerned. There's a possibility, however slight, even though Golden State has a much easier schedule the rest of the way, there is a slight chance that they could finish as high as 8. But that's the best. At this point, last night's loss is a killer because it separates space between Phoenix, Sacramento, and New Orleans away from a team like the Lakers.
And the fact that every team above us, just directly above us, all won today.
Golden State lost.
Did they?
Yes.
They did?
Sacramento won barely over San Antonio.
Oh, wow. I thought that game was over. I might have thought the game was over when they were leading.
Golden State lost. Yeah, Golden State did lose to Chicago today.
Okay, I'm sorry. I must have looked. I looked at the score. I thought the game was over. Sorry.
No, all good, man. Yeah, Golden State lost. That's what I was saying. The highest they can get. I'm being realistic to everyone out there. If everything fell into place, and sorry, Frank, I apologize, would be hopping over the Mavs and the Warriors for 8th place. But again, the strength of the schedule is not in the Lakers' favor.
No, because even when they get out of this homestand, we told you that there's a 6-game road trip where they're not going to have any rest, hardly any rest. And this isn't exactly a mentally strong team. They could come back 1-5 in that run, for all we know.
Yeah,
2-4. Even if they're 2-4, they're in trouble. They would have to go 4-2 to have a shot at going up in the standings, even in that road trip.
Frank says better chance of us getting rid of Kidd. That would be scary, though, if Jason Kidd does get fired by the Mavs and becomes the leading candidate for the Lakers job. Should we fire Darvin Ham? Well, Frank would be laughing at us constantly.
I might have to retire from the podcast. I don't think I can watch that anymore. There's a cool line in The Sopranos where some guys are just better as number twos. I believe Jason Kidd is that guy. I don't believe Jason Kidd should be a head coach either. I don't think he has the right.
I think Alan, Darren, Intel, yeah, just Kurt.
He doesn't have
our entire crew would just be like,
coaching is coaching NBA players. There's so much that has to go your way. It's just not. It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult to coach players that are making, and this is even before they started making 50 and 60 mil. How is Phil Jackson, let's say if he was just a regular coach, how is Phil Jackson going to tell Shaquille O'Neal or Michael Jordan anything when he's making 5 or 6 million and they're making 30? How does that happen? It's hard. That player has to understand that, hey, this is the coach, I'm going to respect him.
No, it's funny because Kurt mentioned, doesn't he have that domestic violence, Intel? I'm sorry I said that. And I'm like, immediately, I just binged it. Immediately, a list from ESPN has automatically comes up. It's
well, that was from 20 plus years ago, wasn't it?
I believe so. 2001.
Yeah, that
was arrested for hitting his now ex-wife Jomana, pleaded guilty to spousal abuse, fined $200, take anger management.
Are we gonna continue to talk about something that I'm not trying to trivialize the situation, but that was 23 years ago, and there hasn't been a peep since. So maybe it was a moment of weakness, and I would like to at least give him credit that maybe he fixed his problem. Sometimes that happens. But if it was murder, if it was rape, that's a different story. There's no forgiving there.
But says $200, Intel.
$200?
Back in 2001.
What was $200?
His fine for the plea deal that was made for hitting his ex-wife. Fine $200.
Inflation's a bitch.
Well, that's what I was trying to relate to as far as the Kobe thing, as far as the correlation, as far as Kobe taking that.
Kobe was much worse. Kobe's was much worse. Kobe's situation.
Well, I'm talking about the Kobe contract, that final contract.
I thought you were talking about
Colorado. Kobe in Colorado is such a hot point. I don't want to deal with it because when Jamie dealt with it and he shared his honest feelings on it, we got hate mail in like letter form. And, again, whatever side of the fence you're on that side of the fence. I respect your opinion on that. But yeah, I just would rather not have to delve that unless we actually devote an episode to it. And,
the issue with that is no one knows.
Yeah, no one knows.
And those of you who have feelings on it that you do know, you should reevaluate your evaluation. No one knows except God and them too.
We'll see what happens, though, my friend. It's been a great conversation. It is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford along with Joe Soro. Please join Joe Soro tomorrow as we go ahead and make sure we take care of you for the post game and also as well his Lakers nightcap coming up tomorrow. Since it's a late game, it's going to be 11 p.m. Also as well, join me for the pregame and then during the game, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Looking at possibly getting a Lakerholic spotlight on Saturday, and then we'll be back for you as Sunday as well. So there you go, my friend. And hopefully I'll get to see you on Saturday face-to-face. But any last thoughts, my friend, on the way out?
Well, we have to go into this next game with some positiveness. Mm-hmm. What does that mean in the end? Can they win and then Golden State loses so that they can jump up a spot, at least if they're going to play in a play-in, play at home. I guess that's the only thing I can look forward to at this point. That's as much as I can go.
Yes.
There's been a lot of discussion on the problems with this team, and it's a lot. It's not just one or two things, and it's not always the problem. It's every other game. It's things said, things done, things you can't control, things you can control.
I want to say on Jason Kidd, though, I do think that the Sodagate incident, as I look up this laundry list of things that Kidd has done, I do think that's outside the box thinking right there. If you remember that, Joe.
You mean when he purposely tried to get a timeout by...
Yeah. Having his player hit him intentionally, knocking a soda to the floor, and, you take time to go ahead and clean it up. It's outside the box.
Didn't Bobby Valentine get kicked out of a game? I think he was managing the Rangers, or was he managing the Mets?
I
think it was the Mets.
Mets? Okay.
And then he put on
yeah,
Groucho Marx thing.
Exactly.
Big nose and mustache.
Now, Kidd got fined. Get this, $50,000 for the Sodagate deal.
I don't think I have a problem with that. I think that's funny, actually.
I thought that was creative and outside the box, but obviously you do have to go ahead and discipline for that. But yeah, hitting your wife was a $200 fine, but spilling soda was $50,000.
I'm gonna return that.
What a crazy world we live in.
I'm gonna return that as Bill Burr would, the famous comedian.
Here we go.
If you all think that a lot of those situations, both parties or one party is dainty and nice in one, and then all of a sudden the other one goes nuts, you'd probably be confused. Let's just put it that way. I look at reoccurring issues in a lot of cases like that, because there are times where someone might have said something, and it's not just, I've never hit a woman. A lot of
Thank goodness.
I've never hit a woman, so I'm not relating to it in any way, but I'm also a realist. There's rules, and then every once in a while there's an exception. That's life. But if my memory is correct, around that time, I believe there was some discretion on Jason's part that probably caused that. Therefore, likely justified that there was an issue there, and unfortunately, Jason took the bad route there. But it's still, is it a chronic thing? It doesn't look like it. So are we going to continue to hammer someone for something that happened that long ago, that wasn't debilitating? There wasn't anyone hurt in terms of permanent issues, death. We're not perfect. We're not perfect people. Sometimes things happen. Jawan Howard got caught DUI. You could have killed somebody, right? Driving. Are we going to hold that against him? He had a press conference apologizing to everybody. That's, there is levels to this sometimes, and I think we want to try to understand that as well.
Alan says, "Well, I'll let you read that." I don't.
That's a Bill Burr thing too, by the way. Well, you guys tell me, when was the last time, before or after, you heard Chris Brown did something like that? I'm just telling you what happened. I'm not saying I support it or not. I just told you I've never done anything like that, and it's not in the cards that it would happen.
Can't wait for the comments on this one.
Okay, what do you want me to say, Gerald? This is an injustice. Jason Kidd should never eat, sleep, or coach anywhere.
I just don't think we should in conscious.
No.
We should stick
We
to
should
basketball.
talk about it because it's important. It's an important discussion. Why are you bringing up something that happened in 2001?
It was mentioned that, and I again just was clarifying it, and Ollie was just reporting the news, reporting the article, how it happened. So yes, there was a domestic violence issue on Jason Kidd's ledger. He was fined $200 for it in 2001. That's it. That's all I want to say. And then you compare it to Sodagate, where he.
I didn't compare it to anything.
Well, I'm just saying you compare dollar amounts to Sodagate. Yeah, it kind of. Now, mind you, it was a decade and a half, almost decade and a half later, but still, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Speaks to
I
our
don't like
society.
Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I think he's.
Yeah, I know, Alan.
I think that's a good one, Bloodhound. He's a creep. I don't like Ty Hill at all. He's a creep.
Alan, I agree with you. That's it was
There's
nice
a
while it
difference,
lasted.
folks. There's got to be a difference when someone's a habitual line stepper, as the great Charlie Murphy would say. Yes, and that's where fathers, brothers, uncles, male cousins, where are you protecting your women? Just saying, where are they? No one's ever hit my sister.
Once again,
no one's ever hit my wife. No one's ever hit my girls. You do that, not good.
Yeah, my boss is Google in this case for this this show right here.
Your boss is Google.
They own YouTube. They own, well, I could say Meta for Facebook, but I don't make money off that. So not yet. I need 10,000 followers. So for ad revenue, but I digress. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glasser along with Joe Soro. I'm hoping we'll be around tomorrow. We'll see if YouTube lets us on the air. If not, I'll see you on Facebook, everyone. Or maybe even I'll be stuck to just Twitch. I'll have to let you know. You can follow us at Lakers Fast Break. So unless you hear from me, we'll still be here tomorrow, hopefully. Keeping my fingers crossed. Joe Soro is going to be here. What?
Google takes 30% of the super chats?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We got to figure out another way to collect.
Oh, I've told you that. I've said memberships, Patreon. There's different ways to, go ahead.
You're telling me I drank 1/3 of my drinks for this place?
They all take it. Whatever app you use, they all have a cut of what they bring in.
I got to work around that until, like I have everything else. We're going to have to talk. By the way, is OnlyFans just porn?
No, but it's most notably, I guess, known for that.
That's what do? They just get on camera and just...
Yeah. Or you could do Cameo, where you could do Cameo as far as... But OnlyFans, I'm assuming, is a long form of that. Cash App takes like 2-3%. Yes, they all take money. They all
saw that. I was seeing if anybody saw what I just did. Jay gets it. Okay, so John Cena has one. What does John Cena do? Get on there and speak Chinese or something? Like, what does he do?
He is known to speak Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt.
So you could be on there and not have it be taking your clothes off, right?
I'm assuming as such, yes.
Anybody know? I'm trying to educate myself here, for God's sakes. I'm not going on those sites. I'm always paranoid that I'll get some kind of, hey, you were on OnlyFans. What are you doing in there?
Intel Wild says, never been on OF, but yeah, there is some normal content on OF, but it's mostly known for the X-rated stuff. So yes. But PayPal even takes a cut.
So people drop millions of dollars to watch some skank
or eBay or whoever
do this stuff.
I guess so, man. I guess the strip club around the corner ain't gonna do that well for you. So doesn't do that well enough for them.
Brave new world, man. Okay, well, on that note, congrats.
Simblade's now on OnlyFans.
maybe if I paid, called her my Sinblades girl and put her on there. What do you think? Think I get more business?
You said you've got as much as you can handle now.
Well, I'm just saying it's, you can always get more.
I mean, we always talk about Twitch and how we don't have a big audience on Twitch because the fact that we're not sitting next to one of those little pools or little jacuzzis and in a bikini. That's supposedly speed dating, because that always pops up.
Yeah, no, this is for generally it's for women, right? I mean, it's what it is. No one wants to see me. Come on. I know that those bodybuilders, the influencers,
they want to see you rant.
Rant is different than people are not going to pay $1 million to hear me rant. People are paying to do stuff online. The owner of made $1 million a day last year. CEO
That's not too surprising, actually.
He's the richest pimp that's ever lived.
Video pimp, indeed. Boy, this conversation has totally gone off the rails.
Hey, this is real life stuff.
That's what happens when you have a 10th place team.
So what would I do on OnlyFans? Just get on like I am now and say hi.
Yeah. You'd be able to go ahead and curse your heart's desire.
I couldn't even move the thing. Pimping ain't easy, but it sure is fun. Darvin had probably has a.
Is that right? So. Now that doesn't surprise me. That actually is smart, because if they're keeping, the group small, they're raking in all the money, and they don't have to worry about massive layoffs or anything like that. Yeah, that's.
Well, you realize most of these we said this. Elon Musk fired 80% of the workforce when he bought Twitter, and it ran the same way. So everyone was getting paid doing nothing, which is not too surprising.
Frank, this is our show going off the rails. It has done this on occasion, so I apologize. I know we talk Mavs. They always stay strictly on NBA. Joe and our audience, sometimes we just.
Yeah, sometimes this merges into a nightcap where we start talking about other things. But in Frank's honor, Frank, you have a Laker question we'll answer before we go off air. Go ahead and throw one out here.
Sports baby, thank you, very kind of you, but we'll decide about a way to go ahead. But I think PayPal takes the cut when I go ahead and deposit. Let's say deposit, right? Because I believe that's the way they do it. That's the way they do it. It's like not you giving it to me; it's me depositing it myself to my account. Unless I leave it in PayPal.
The easiest way, guys, is to Zelle it. Zelle is
yeah.
Zelle is the best way.
Good point.
If you guys want to do it without headaches, Zelle it.
Because when I've sold things on eBay, yeah, you pay the eBay cuts, but when I go ahead and get the money from whatever I sold on eBay, then when I put it to the account, I know that eBay, which owns PayPal, takes a cut. I think it's just me on. I believe they do. Yeah.
I don't think so.
I thought they did. Who owns PayPal?
This is
eBay.
This is interesting information.
Established in 1998, PayPal went public through IPO, became a wholly owned subsidiary of eBay later that year.
Yay!
So I thought it was. I did see the Fallout trailer. Looks interesting. I'm not a huge fan of the game, so I like Fallout New Vegas. It would be my favorite Fallout game, but I will be catching it. They are dropping all the episodes mid-April on Amazon Prime, so I am going to go ahead and obviously talk about it on the Pop Culture Cosmos.
I don't think so, Jeremy. I don't think so.
Gabe Vincent's been talked about possibly being a late March return.
I don't know what he can do in 1 month of work. I got nothing. I pretty much know what's going on. See, Frank, that's why we went to this. We had answered all the questions.
And it's how ironic, Frank, that your team and our team are pretty much mired in the same.
You guys have the modern day LeBron without
record.
the athleticism.
Now, your future looks better than ours because Luka.
I wouldn't say that. Dallas tends to disappoint a lot.
Yeah, but Luka is a much younger individual.
Yeah, but if Luka doesn't start competing for championships, he's going to want to bounce.
Frank, do you guys have that same fear? And this, I know this conversation is getting closer to 2 hours, but do you guys have that same fear, Frank, that Luka is going to bounce if he isn't getting a team that is taking him where he needs to go? Not you, but do you see that kind of chatter? I know we say that on the outside. I know Sean, when he was on, he would always say that, but does like when you go on We Talk Mavs, do they always communicate that their fear of losing Luka in a couple of years if they don't start winning? Alan, why do you say Luka won't age well? Because he doesn't play a high athletic style. So I'm curious to understand why you would say that. His shot should only get better in theory. Now I say in theory. Joe, what do you think? Do you think his game will age better or worse over the period of time?
It just depends on. It depends on what he's eating.
Obviously, if he stays in shape, I get you there.
He needs to do what Steve Nash did towards the end of his career. He became an MVP late in his career because he was in shape.
Well, it's true, Frank, that the Dallas Mavericks can end up paying him substantially more than anyone else, and money is always the great.
I think the next. I want to know who the next big free agent player the NBA is going to have. Are we ever going to see another free agent star go into an offseason saying, I'm going to test the market? That's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm going to be watching Luka, and I'm going to be watching Giannis the next year or two. I'm going to be paying attention to that. I'm actually be paying attention to Giannis this year. I'm cheering for Milwaukee. We have a major problem with Boston right now, playing the way they're playing. Granted, they lost tonight, but it's still, if Denver gets, if look what's going on in Minnesota right now. They just lost Karl Anthony Towns for the rest of the regular season. If Denver loses someone like Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr., and Boston is at full strength going into the finals, let's say, there's a problem there. There's a lot of bad things can happen there. This thing can get worse if Boston wins it. It's going to be 10 times worse. It negates the 2020 title in a lot of ways. So that's the scary part right now. That's the scariest part for me anyways. If the Celtics don't win a championship this year, I can take a sigh of relief a little bit and say, okay, it's looking like the Celtics are just not going to win with this team. They're going to have to pay Jason Tatum the Supermax. They're going to have two Supermax players on the same team and playing essentially the same position. So now what the hell are they going to do? How are they going to field a team that's already light on depth?
Frank says Giannis would be his most likely candidate, and I've heard his name bandied about before as a possible next guy that you're talking about.
I wish he didn't sign the extension. If he hadn't signed that extension this summer, I would have said yes, but that totally took him out. You're only going to get Giannis if you unload half your team.
Are you concerned at all about maybe the injuries starting to pile up a little bit? Because Achilles soreness, whether or not, I don't know if it's real or not, but I'm assuming it is. That's making me a little pause for concern.
I don't think I'm going to worry about Giannis until he's
Okay.
somebody that I can worry about. That's a Milwaukee issue right now.
No, I'm just saying as far as, as a player. Zion, I know Zion might be, it depends on how you value him now and whether or not you think he can last for the long haul.
I think he should go to Miami. I think Miami should find a way to get Zion and then have Pat Riley get him in the gym. That would work, unless he's stubborn and says, I'm not doing it. Then
his dream is to go to New York, or he has stated that his dream was going to
someone with his work ethic. New York is the worst place to go. He needs to go to Miami, where he's forced to be someone. If Shaq could do it back in 2005, Zion can do it. Zion needs to be turned into a beast, and by doing that, he needs to drop 40 pounds.
And JSJ, Joe was right. You'll never get full value on an AD trade, but it would have to be quality players that match up to that type of contract, plus a substantial amount of draft picks. I don't want to say it's like what Atlanta was looking for with DeJounte Murray. Like, oh yeah, we gave up 3 firsts, so I'm assuming we were going to get 3 firsts back. What did we give up for AD? Was it 4 or 5 picks total? How many? 4? Okay, so I'm assuming we would not be able to get 4 number ones back for AD, but 2, 3 on top of some really good players. It's still, you're not going to get dollar for dollar matching value on an AD trade, but you have to assume that AD is going to revert back to playing 50 games a year, being injured a good portion of the season for the rest of his career, and not playing at a 75 to 77 game level like he is now. I think that would be the only thing you would have to. To trade him would be the way I'd have to assess it, Joe.
I'm not going to look into that. They just signed him to an extension. I don't think that's an option at this point. You don't.
Well, the fact that he accepted that so quickly.
Yeah, he accepted it because he's smart.
And he knew
the money they're giving you right now. Don't waste. Don't play with anything. Even if you didn't have an injury history, you don't turn down that kind of money. You guarantee yourself that money when you can get it. KCP, Schroeder, my favorite player of all time, Mr. Nerlens Noel. Lesson learned. Learn from that, folks. Take what they give you. Worry about the extension later.
Yeah, I don't want to even stress it now, Frank. If the rumors ever start to get hot and heavy, obviously we'll discuss at that time. But yeah, pondering an AD trade at this point, I think it's not going to serve anyone at this point. But I think if it happens, it happens. But obviously we'll cover it on the show. But right now, Joe, I think it's, again, 10th place. Got Milwaukee coming tomorrow. Things are not looking all that up for us right now.
Yeah. You might be here tomorrow night saying, yay, we won. And then lose to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then beat Sacramento in Sacramento. Just watch the games and we'll comment after every game at this point. There's no point in discussing futures or anything at this point. I don't want Kyrie on this team unless it's for very minimal.
Didn't you want him on the team before?
I did, but that ship has sailed. It's done. He's starting to creep up into this 13th season. Unless you can get him for a low percentage. I am tired, Alan, of the roller coaster. The roller coaster has been played out.
Okay, because he has been a model citizen.
I don't
playing this year.
This team needs defense, defensive perimeter players. They don't. That Kyrie's not the guy.
Okay,
and I just don't want to deal with that part unless you can get him for LeBron. So maybe
you would take a 1-for-1 swap.
I would take. So let's talk about your favorite subject, Bronny James. Let's say Bronny James gets drafted by Dallas. let's say Bronny James gets drafted by Dallas, trade LeBron to Dallas for Kyrie, then I'll talk.
I mean, if Bronny goes in the draft, there's a real possibility he will last until late in the draft when the Lakers have their pick. And yeah, let the speculation begin on that one. So.
I'm going to say this right now. If they draft Bronny James, I am no longer doing a podcast.
Wow.
I'm not watching that. Sorry, I'm not going to support it. I'll come in as a guest. I can't. There's no way I can spend 82 games watching that monstrosity. There's no way. It might as well.
They wouldn't play him 82.
They will have turned this into a reality show, and I'm not gonna stand for it. Sorry.
That I agree with you.
I would show up to the podcast, but I'm not watching the games. Not all of them, anyways.
You know what it would be like? He played most of the year at South Bay. He would come up token appearances with LeBron, and that's it. Which again would be another wasted draft pick after you just had 2 wasted draft picks this season.
And draft picks that you actually did pick good players and you still got rid of them. Mm-hmm. That's the worst ones. The worst ones are. It's one thing to come up lame on a draft pick. It's worse when you've picked the right guy and you don't retain him.
Mo Wagner. We always forget about Mo Wagner. He's playing really well with his brother.
Yeah, but
Orlando's been now a 4th place team in the Eastern Conference.
Mo Wagner's good, but I'm talking about the real impact players, the guys that you needed.
No, just a rotation player. I'm not saying, these are just, it's depth. You always talk about the Lakers' depth and how they don't have it after being told during the summer that we have all this depth, all this great depth, and we don't have it. Just imagine all the players that we let get away. He is just one name. I'm just pointing that out. A lot to think about. That's why, again, I think the decision-making at the top, it starts at the top for me, but it is an organizational issue why we're at where we're at. But again, for me, it starts at the very top, and we'll go from there. But yeah, Jeanie is not going to sell the team anytime soon, but she can make some changes to the GM and the coach. We'll see if that does happen. But Joe, great 2-hour conversation, my friend. Any thoughts before we check on out for the night? We tried to do this before, but then we went on a seriously left turn, and hopefully Google will still, be our friend this time tomorrow.
No.
All right. Well, there you go. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. Yeah, Frank says, imagine the ticket prices just to watch Bronny. And we'll have to report on it here at the Lakers fast break. He's just not ready. He's just not an NBA ready player right now. He's not even close. I don't even know why we're having this discussion at times, because he's just not there. I don't even have to talk to Rafael Barlow or Stone Hansen, all the draft guys, because you see it. When a guy averages 5 points a game in college, he's just not ready. And yeah, that's what it is. But it is the Lakers fast break. We will be probably talking about it more. It is, of course, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching this. I truly appreciate it. Sports Baby, big shout out to you. Truly appreciate it. Everyone else out there, Kurt, of course, Darren, Alan, absolutely great to have you here. JSJ, Frank, as always, Alan, of course, again, truly appreciate everyone taking the time out of the day to go ahead and share their thoughts with us. Darren says Joe's takes on LeBron are a roller coaster. Are they a roller coaster?
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good comparison.
Yeah.
It's not a good roller coaster either.
This season has been like a bad roller coaster. I agree. Mississippi says, imagine the ticket price to see LeBron James sit out with a fake injury. Yeah.
The NBA has done its job in forcing these guys to play. I have no complaints there. 65 games. I would have made it 70, like Charles said, but you gotta play a certain amount to qualify for your supermaxes, little guys.
Well, we'll see if the Lakers can qualify for something tomorrow with a victory over Milwaukee. We'll see if that happens, and we'll go ahead and set up for you. We're going to have hopefully a great evening all night long. Please join us for all the action right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.